The movie opens with a flashback set many years earlier. Out in the middle of the ocean, a team is drilling underwater in search of oil. Everything seems normal at first, until suddenly, the drilling machine jams. One of the workers heads down to inspect the problem, but the moment he gets close, he's hit by a violent shock underwater. Right after that, tiny sea creatures suddenly burst out from the darkness and begin swarming around him. The man struggles to get away, but another shockwave hits, and this time, many more creatures appear. Within seconds, they completely overwhelm him, killing him underwater. And after that horrifying incident, the entire facility is shut down. Years later, in 2011, the same location is reopened under a new name, Sector 7. A fresh crew arrives to continue drilling for oil deep beneath the sea. But things still aren't going smoothly. The drill pipe keeps going out of control, so the workers are constantly trying to stabilize it. Among them is a worker named June, who's responsible for controlling the drilling pressure. Even after all their efforts, they still can't find any trace of oil. Around the same time, the captain is furious at two workers for not doing their jobs properly. But before the argument can go any further, water suddenly bursts out of the drill pipe. And, along with it, a strange little sea creature crawls out. Curious, the team places the creature inside a water tank so they can study it. That's when we meet a female scientist working at the facility. She's actually a genetic researcher, and the moment she sees the creature, her attention immediately locks onto it. The crew starts asking questions, wanting to know exactly what this thing is. The doctor explains that these creatures survive through a chemosynthetic environment, meaning they don't rely on sunlight at all. In fact, sunlight is deadly to them. Exposure would either kill them or literally burn them alive. While the doctor is still explaining everything, one of the workers named Gio casually reaches into the tank and lifts the creature out of the water to examine it more closely. Big mistake. The tiny creature instantly lashes out at him, biting him unexpectedly. After the attack, Gio's lips begin swelling in a disturbing way, leaving everyone shocked. The captain quickly takes control of the situation and gathers all the workers inside the control room. He announces that there's absolutely no oil at this site, and headquarters has already ordered the operation to be shut down. But one of the male doctors refuses to accept that decision. He strongly argues against closing the facility, insisting they should continue the operation. Soon after, the head of the entire mission, Jung, arrives at the station because he's been assigned to officially oversee the shutdown. The entire team meets him, and the male doctor desperately tries convincing Jung not to end the project yet. After a long discussion, Jung finally agrees to give them a few more months. Time passes, and about 3 months later, the crew is still searching underwater. One day, the drill pipe suddenly malfunctions again. June and another worker are sent underwater to repair it. Deep below the surface, June focuses on the repairs, while the other worker watches over her from nearby. But then his safety rope suddenly snaps. The man begins sinking deeper into the dark ocean, completely out of control. June immediately tries to save him, but before she can reach him, she suddenly gets hit by some kind of shock underwater and loses consciousness. Back at the station, the crew notices something is wrong and quickly pulls June back up, using the rope system. Everyone becomes deeply unsettled after the accident. Later, the female doctor quietly asks June an important question. "Did you see anything down there?" She's clearly asking if June encountered some kind of creature beneath the water. But June can't remember anything from the incident. Not long after that, the female doctor is standing outside alone when Gio approaches her. Ever since being bitten, his behavior has become strange and aggressive. He starts acting inappropriately toward her, making her visibly uncomfortable and angry. Meanwhile, June sits alone in her room, still shaken from everything that happened underwater. And then, suddenly, the female doctor's dead body crashes down right in front of her. Panicking, she immediately calls the rest of the crew. This is now the second death at the facility, and everyone starts suspecting Gio, but the senior doctor believes it may have been suicide. That theory doesn't last long. During the examination, they discover signs that suggest someone forcefully pushed her. The senior doctor now realizes this may have been an attack carried out by someone on the station. To identify the killer, he begins collecting DNA samples from everyone. At this point, nearly everyone suspects Gio, so the crew decides to lock him up in the basement. The doctor continues working inside the lab, analyzing the DNA reports. But after several hours pass, the doctor still hasn't come out of the lab. That's when the captain decides to check on him himself. The moment he enters the lab, he discovers the doctor dead too. Now the entire crew completely loses control. Terrified, they become convinced Gio is responsible for all of this. So everyone rushes down toward the basement. At the same time, we see Gio tied up alone underground, when suddenly he starts hearing terrifying creature-like noises echoing through the darkness. He panics. Screaming in fear, he manages to free himself from the ropes. A little later, the others finally arrive downstairs and discover Gio unconscious nearby. They grab him immediately, ready to kill him on the spot. But before they can do anything, Gio desperately warns them about a horrifying creature he saw earlier. He begs everyone to run before it's too late, and then takes off again. The crew chases after him. And that's when June finally sees it too. A massive, horrifying creature suddenly appears, and several team members are killed almost instantly during the chaos. June barely escapes and rushes back to warn the others about what she saw. Hearing this, Young decides they have no choice anymore. They need to kill the creature. June grabs a gun and joins him as they head deeper into the facility. While moving through the corridors, they run into two terrified workers. But before anyone can react, the creature suddenly appears right behind them. The monster attacks immediately, nearly taking them out one by one, but Jung quickly fires his weapon at the creature, giving the workers enough time to escape. The creature lets out a horrifying scream, and realizing normal attacks aren't enough, Jung suddenly throws his lighter directly onto it. Instantly, the creature's body bursts into flames. Because its body contains extremely high levels of petroleum, the fire spreads rapidly across its skin. But then, the creature slowly adapts to the heat, extinguishes the flames on its own body, and starts chasing them again. Now completely desperate, the group rushes toward an elevator leading to a lower section of the station. There's another facility down there, where they believe they can hide temporarily. Once they arrive, they begin treating one of the injured workers. But everyone is now suspicious of Jung. The way he immediately knew fire could hurt the creature clearly means he's hiding something. The captain angrily confronts him. What is really going on here? Because according to every official report, creatures like this were never supposed to exist in this area. That's when Jung finally reveals the truth. Jung slowly walks toward a tank nearby and pulls out one of the smaller creatures from inside the water. The moment it's exposed to open air, the thing immediately begins burning on its own. And finally, Jung tells them the truth. He's been hiding for years. 20 years earlier, he and his partners were working at this exact facility when they discovered these strange organisms deep beneath the ocean. At first, they looked harmless, but after studying them, Jung realized something unbelievable. These creatures could burn continuously for almost 30 hours. Their bodies naturally produced enormous amounts of energy because they were basically made from petroleum-like material. If they managed to bring even one of these creatures to the surface, they could become unimaginably rich. The risks were too dangerous. But Jung ignored all the warnings and secretly continued experimenting on them anyway. Then one day, disaster struck. Something went horribly wrong inside the lab, and the creatures turned violent, wiping out almost the entire team. That incident was the real reason Sector 7 had been abandoned 20 years ago. The female scientist had decided to expose everything to the crew, so Jung pushed her to her death before she could speak. June is furious after hearing the truth and almost attacks Jung right there. But before things can escalate, the creature suddenly appears again. Everyone immediately starts running. Jung stays behind, trying to distract the monster, while June and another worker rush toward the engine room to activate the generators. Meanwhile, the captain and a few surviving workers head for the submarine, hoping to escape the facility entirely. June and her partner successfully restart the generators, restoring power across the station. But the situation only becomes more chaotic. At the submarine dock, the captain and the others are preparing to leave when suddenly the creature attacks from below, slamming into the platform and trying to climb upward. The workers desperately hold the platform shut to stop it from getting through. The creature forces its way up anyway. Everyone scatters in panic. During the chaos, one worker falls, nearly getting caught by the monster, but another crew member risks his own life to pull him away just in time. Both men sprint toward the submarine, thinking they've survived. But then the captain does something selfish. The moment he sees them approaching, he seals the submarine door shut, refusing to let anyone else inside. And seconds later, the creature reaches the stranded workers. June and her partner are also racing toward the submarine, hoping to escape. But the captain is already trying to leave without them. He isn't letting anyone aboard. Then suddenly, the creature crashes into the submarine itself, smashing the front glass. Water immediately floods inside, and the captain ends up trapped as the submarine rapidly sinks beneath the ocean. Realizing this nightmare is entirely his fault, Jung decides to face the creature himself. He enters a large open section of the facility, waiting for the monster to come to him. And it does. The creature slowly emerges from the darkness, standing directly in front of him. Jung attacks first, using a flamethrower-like fire gun. Once again, the monster catches fire, but only for a few moments before extinguishing itself. In one final desperate move, Jung grabs a metal rod and forces it deep into the creature's mouth. Thick petroleum-like liquid begins pouring out of its body. Then Jung pulls out his lighter. He ignites the leaking liquid, setting both the creature and himself on fire. Jung sacrifices himself completely, burning alive alongside the monster in an attempt to finally destroy it. That's when June and her partner arrive. They stare at the burning creature, hoping it's dead. But suddenly, the monster lunges toward June again. Her partner quickly saves her, but the creature grabs him instead and drags him straight into the water below. June rushes to the edge and looks down. She realizes both her partner and the creature are hanging from a rope beneath the platform. Desperately, she starts pulling him upward using a cable system. But behind him, the creature slowly starts climbing up too. And now, the monster is even more terrifying because its entire body has been burned. Seeing the danger, June's partner tells her to run before the creature reaches the surface. June hesitates, but finally starts backing away. Then suddenly, the rope gives way. As the creature falls back into the water, it drags June's partner down with it, killing him beneath the ocean. A little later, she reaches the control room. But even after everything, the creature still isn't dead. It appears once more. June slowly backs away until she reaches the massive drilling machine. The creature charges toward her, and at the very last second, June activates the drill system and slams it directly into the monster. The creature violently attacks back, nearly overpowering her again. But after an intense struggle, the drill finally tears through the creature completely, killing it once and for all. And immediately after its death, the entire facility begins collapsing around her. With no time left, June jumps into the ocean to escape. Moments later, a rescue team finally arrives and pulls her safely from the water. After everything buried beneath the ocean, June is the only one left alive to tell the story.